Magazine with coverage brought to you by Hooked on Driving, Everyday Driver, and the Valente Group. And today, especially as we are here in Putnam Park and there's not a whole lot of signal, thank you to Eric Hall and Verizon, along with HPDRE, who some of the members might be watching. So HPDRE, let me enunciate that one, right? Today, you'll see we are right there at Putnam Park, and that's right over there, which is right out the window. So we're going to be bringing you the action today. As we get started with our first run group, we'll bring you some of the updates from last night and yesterday, which are positive and negative and positive again. So a lot happened yesterday. So follow along with us for today's coverage of the 2024 Tire Rack One Lap of America, our 40th anniversary here at Putnam Park. Let's switch over. And Brian's here with me, holding the camera. Good morning, Brian.
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
So we are coming to you from the relative safety and comfort and quiet, right? Quiet is a key one of the upstairs at the control tower at Putnam Park. Some wonderful people. You see our track manager over there in the orange, or the yellow shoes, walk into the little Ranger. We've got our flaggers on station. This morning getting a little bit of a later start because of the restrictions here at Putnam Park. So they only let us get going at 9 o'clock, and I see, I'm trying to see, there they are, here we go. We got the Tesla of Andrew DeConey coming up just in time to make his run group. So he is he's 8:57, so he was here exactly when they thought. He's gonna come right to grid, and I think you're gonna see something really special. You're gonna see a bunch of people running up to the car right now and yanking all of their stuff out.
Yeah.
Because he has got to go straight to grid. I wouldn't be surprised if he drove here in his race suit and helmet to make sure that he was ready. And we'll get into why it is that they're doing that in a little bit. But a lot of the cars here, a couple of the ones that you're used to seeing up at the front, having some issues right now. So this is going to be pretty interesting to watch. I see them going through the paddock now. So they're going to go to the far end. I don't know if they're going to drop stuff or they're going to come right to grid. I would imagine it is the latter, so they might be trying to get that E-Ray and the 911 there to make some room shortly. Let me go and see if I can call the action a little bit better from one of the other windows. I would keep looking there because they're going to be here any moment. Whew, that sun has got the shade hot. They are right by Putnam, so they're yanking their stuff out,
Yep,
if you can
they
see,
sure
right at the entrance to the pits. There they are.
Looks like there's about 4 or 5 people around the car, more like 6 or 7. You got one on each side at the back doors. And then you've got 2 or 3 that are shuttling stuff out of the back hatch.
This is like a pit stop for them. You've got a bunch of one-lappers descending on the vehicle to get everything out so this way they can make their run group. They've got just about 45 seconds or so until Andy's going to start releasing cars, and along with Dan Neal. And Dan looks like on radio trying to make sure everything is clear.
Okay, the trunk is closed. Looks like Chad is at the driver's window talking to Andrew. And look at there. Here
He's
he
made
comes.
it, and it is 9 o'clock on the dot. That is pretty spectacular. Well done, well done, well done. He is going to have to try and get between that E-Ray. And that E-Ray suffered a bit of a problem yesterday.
Yes, it did.
With the carbon wheels, eh? And we'll get into that a little bit later, but the long and short of it, or the short part of it, right, is that on 70, they hit an expansion joint that had a big pothole attached to it and wound up cracking one of those carbon wheels right in half. And
They should be used to it because those guys are from South Carolina, and we have terrible potholes in South Carolina. So they should have already been acclimated to that.
Well, apparently not, or they figured since they weren't in South Carolina, it wouldn't make a difference. But it did. It was bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are the last car as Nick Galata, I got it right this time, the Lotta Galata and Quick Nick takes to the track along with Andrew Brownfield, followed by that Smoko Corvette with Brian Peters. Yeah. And then we have DJ, followed by a real brawler here in this event, Rob Bowen, doing really well overall, and you notice Scotty Core's not in here, another victim of attrition yesterday. We'll talk about that. He'll be here late, the last car going out, followed by that Team PGR Never Say Die Tesla. And it's interesting because on the HPDRE forum on Facebook today, on the page, they were talking about the potential for Andrew taking an overall victory today. And, that's why I think we'll have some HPDRE members watching. We forwarded the live link to them. And it'd be great to have that family here too to join us. But it could be a shift. I think that the Goodyear car, still piloted by that Nick Galata, Lotta Galata, is going to be hard to catch.
Yes.
But anything can happen.
This is true.
They've been flawless thus far this week in that Goodyear car. Well prepared, well driven, well sorted. Doing an amazing job. So we have them now lining up, and for those of you who may be uninitiated to this, they are going to do one recon lap, which they've just completed, and now they're going to take the green flag like this and go off for 3 timed laps, cumulatively timed laps. And that is going to determine the points. So the lowest overall ET is going to take maximum points.
DJ giving Rob away by. I was a little surprised that Mark cut Nick loose so early because this Tesla is just coming around the last corner here.
That's okay. It's a fairly short track, so I think it's, well, to that point, actually, yeah, he might actually be catching pretty quickly. Rob Bowen out in the way. He's been driving that Parts Farm Porsche really, really well this week. And of course, the Parts Farm, sponsor of us here at the One Lap, providing our trophies this year. Thank you, Rob. And with the Parts Farm, it's co-driver Daryl.
As Andrew takes off, there goes Nick.
Yep, coming around. So I think we'll be okay.
Yep, like I mentioned yesterday, today would have been the day to have the live timing and scoring.
That's true. It's going to be tight today. There he goes.
His first lap.
Yep. Let's zoom out. There we go. Now we can see everything a little bit more.
Here comes Brownie.
Andrew Brownfield, yep, coming through. Take his first lap. And if you want to pan down for a moment, look at, actually you don't have to. If you look at that E-ray at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you will notice that there's one wheel that is not like the other. And I suspect it may be both fronts, because I believe both were cracked. They are running stock C8 wheels on there, the replacements, and they've got the carbons in the rear, so it's a business in front, party in the back for them. There we go.
Completes his first lap.
And Nick comes around to complete his second. Yep.
Long carousel. I remember 2 years ago when we were here, there were a lot of slipping and sliding coming out of that
It
last
was
corner.
the last corner. In order to get grip, you had to stay all the way to the outside, which is a very unnerving proposition because right there is the Armco. So just a little bit off of that wet line, and you are having a super bad day. I remember because I was driving that, and I was very hesitant to take that line. And the other really slippery spot is where you see the Tesla coming through now, back around 5 and 6. That gets super slippery back there too, especially in the wet. Rob leaning on all that curbing, doing an amazing job getting the power down coming out of the corner. Look at him whistling along by. Good job. And Peter Lear, though, or DJ, here comes the Tesla. And not for nothing, I think that gap is remaining the same because there is Nick on the back there coming around that.
But look at Brownie closing
Brownie
up
is
to
closing
the
up
Porsche.
on, yeah. And I think they have some laps here with Toyota. I'm fairly certain they've been here a few times.
Yeah.
But he has closed that down, taking the checkered flag to finish off that session.
I believe he closed that opening.
He probably closed in about 5 seconds because he sent him pretty quickly.
Yes.
I'd say there was about a 10-second, if that, delay. So maybe 4 to 5 seconds he pulled on that one. I guess that gap to DJ actually is pretty much the same now.
And the gap between Brian and his Corvette in the Grand Sport and Rob was quite large.
Yeah. But that gap to DJ to the Tesla remaining the same. I don't know if it's increased. It looks about the same. Front straight width.
It's about 10 seconds.
Yeah. I think what they're doing is the length of the front straight. When they get to turn 1, that's when they're releasing it.
I believe so.
It looks like to me. And that will conclude the first run group of today. I am going to hand you over to Brian for a little bit because I have to do some admin things, make sure that we have stuff set in South Bend. But I'll be back with you shortly. Brian, very capable, very knowledgeable, very cool, is going to walk you through some of the stuff until I get back.
So there's another Brian coming upstairs? I don't know who you're talking about. So we got the next group going out onto their recon lap. There's the Cunning Stunts Supra, followed by the E-Ray. Got Rowdy Randy Popst in the throttle stop Camaro. Will be going out next. Then the Team Hart Racing Acura NSX rolling out fourth in this group. And then, not sure if Tomo or Shalil is driving this morning. That looked like Tomo. And then Andy Hollis in the GRM one lap CRX. So everybody's circulating on their outlap this morning. Mark Hopkins releasing the first of the 6 cars The E-Ray next to go off. Andrew Semerel at the wheel. Randy Popst getting locked and loaded. Chad leaving in the Hart Racing NSX, sorry. I got the Quality Time Racing GT3. And the One Lap CRX. And as they pull away, you see the next run group getting in line. The Kentucky boys, they had a little off-track incident yesterday and knocked bent one of the rods on the rear and were able to source a part. Had someone get them to the part store, got it replaced, and there was a shop right outside of pit race that was able to do an alignment and get them back here to finish up the event. So, you know, once again, the spirit of one lap showing through. Competitors chomping at the bit to help out other teams. Walked over there to their garage, and you had people from 3 and 4 other car teams that were there lending a hand wherever they could to get that car back out and here to Putnam Park so they could finish up the event. So here comes Andy finishing his first lap. And as he finishes the first lap, the Cunning Stunts Supra completing lap number 2. And there's the Michelin E-Ray. Looks like he's pulled a little bit of a gap on Randy in the throttle stop Camaro ZL1 1LE. And as Andy comes through to take the one to go, not too far behind, the Supra finishing up his 3 laps for the morning session. And there goes the E-Ray by. Randy dancing across the start finish. And there goes Andy Hollis finishing his 3 laps, which that concludes another run group here. And so next out we're going to have the Kentucky boys, then the Subaru of 10,000 turbos, Ivan at the wheel this morning, the Smoko Motorsports Camaro, we got Adam Spence and Kermit, then we got the Buckley Badley Corvette, and then the Underdogs Porsche. So that's going to be your next group going out. Once Andy gets to, I believe, about turn 5, they're going to start releasing, and there goes Tyler out right there. Next group rolling up looks like is Mark John, and then the Iowa one lap Z06. I'm not sure if Pat's at the wheel this morning or if Ryan is. And Kevin Blake in his Shelby. Got the Penguin Garage Supra. I'm not sure if Lisa or Ben is driving today. And then after, I believe Ben is, or yeah, because I see Lisa there. And then Mahogany Ridge Motors / HOD Northeast, Mark Mattice. Ivan away in the Subi. Good morning, Claire Bear. How are you this morning? And I think we may be in our first run group where we might see a pass on the third and final lap. I believe Tyler will probably catch the Underdogs Porsche on these 3 laps. And Subaru goes by completing lap number 1. And like the last car in this next group will be the Kozar Cares Cayman. There's the Buckley Corvette. see Tyler going around dead bear turn. That's right. Smash that subscribe button and the like button. Hit the notifications that lets you know whenever we post a new video. Share with your friends. Comes Adam around the final corner in Kermit, completing his second lap. He's got one to go. Nope, don't think we're going to get that pass that I originally said may happen, because there goes the underdogs. Porsche beginning their third lap as Tyler comes around the last corner. Take the checkered flag from Mark Hopkins.
Tapping in.
Oh, Lord. I said it yesterday, I'll say it this morning. Jesus, take the wheel.
Welcome back to the Dumber and Dumber Show.
I think somebody may have hacked Bob Knieser's YouTube, because he said BKSOD might be coming out of retirement. Todd and Derek might be joining. Ho ho. That's big news. We'll have to get it from the source here later today. We may have to give old Bob Knieser, the dean of the Bob Knieser School of Driving, a phone call to see if this is in fact true. That would be big news. And getting the band back together. So now we're ready for our next run group of cars. Looks like we had some rearranging here on the Faults grid. Kevin Blake's gonna take to the track first. And Ben in the Supra. And we have Mark John. And Mark Matthijs. And that looks like that's Ryan Whalen at the wheel this morning. And then the Kozar Cares, Cayman. Everybody doing their side-end lap I come around here to the front stretch and wait on getting the green from Mark Hopkins to begin their 3 laps here this morning. After lunch, we'll have another run session, and then we will be off to return to South Bend, where we may have some coverage this evening of festivities at the host hotel, and then tomorrow morning we'll be at the tire rack for the dry skid pad, and probably a lot of drifting and burnouts after that event. And then everyone will return home, counting the days down until next May. So the other half of the Park Farm Porsche is here in the booth with me. So what did you think about Rob's run this morning? I know you were up there in the timing booth, so did you...
Yeah, they pushed him up into the first run group, which is a little bit faster than him, but a couple of seconds a lap. We had the tires set a little bit higher this morning. Rob texted me, said that there was a little less grip than he had hoped for, so we're going to drop the pressures down, keep some heat in the tires, and see what we can do for the second.
All right, so was he happy with the run, or
I think
disappointed with
overall
the
happy.
pressure adjustment?
Overall happy, just knows what he needs to do for the second run.
All right.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, Bob Knieser in with a fun fact. Well, Mr. Ogburn, we may try to find that out for you. Might have to do a little politicking to get some numbers from the start-finish line from Mark and the timing crew up there, but we'll see what we can find. I'm quite certain that Nick's run this morning will probably be best in session. So they have pretty much been flawless this week, Nick and Dave in that Goodyear Porsche. And there goes Ryan by in the Iowa 1-lap Z06. And the Kozar Cares Cayman. Ben finishing his second lap. Yes, Asher, it is a much nicer day than it was here in 2022. About the same temperature, but dry. Ryan Whalen getting the one to go. And we've got one more car on their second lap is a Cayman, and he's coming around. And right after that, Mark will display the checkered flag to the Shelby. And Ben and the Super finishing up. Next car across is going to be Mark John, followed by Mark Mattice in the Mahogany Ridge Motors HOD Northeast M4 competition. Ryan Whalen taking the checkered. And then we're just waiting on the Kozar Cares Cayman to finish up their morning run group. It's the live stream on the YouTube channel. Cayman out and Michael in the RF out. We've got the Ed in the Michelin Cadillac. And the Unicorn Racing Supra. One of the 640 Corvettes running the event. And last out is Doug Willie. Thank you, Bill. Hope you'll sign up again for next year and then show up this time. And Bill Morton, one of our multi-time competitors, had to bow out of the event this year, so we definitely miss Bill. Andy down there on the false grid using the PA in our one-lap Discord to call the next run groups out. Cayman down and away. Michael up next in the RF Miata. Ed in the Cadillac. It looks like I see Nick Amato outside the car, so that means that Justin Babinski is going to be at the helm of the Acura this morning here at Putnam Park. As Doug Willie leaves start finish, came in just going through Dead Bear turn. Cadillac completing its first flying lap. Next up is going to be the Unicorn Racing Supra. I believe that was the DeFreeze family Corvette, and Doug Willie completing lap number 1 as he finishes his first lap. Coming through, getting the 1 to go signal from Mark Hopkins. Michael completing his second of 3 laps as we await the arrival of the Cadillac next time by. Those guys had a long night when the E-Ray broke their wheel, and they had to go get the spare wheel and have the event tires put on those wheels. I believe that the Cadillac guys went all the way back to South Bend to retrieve those spare wheels and have their 1-lap tire mounted to it so they could complete the event. I believe they rolled back into the area around 6 a.m. So they've had a very, very long night. Michael coming around to take the checkered flag. Next up is the Sleepy Time Michelin Cadillac. Bob Knieser all of a sudden throwing up fun facts about Clemson University, which Clemson is near and dear to my heart. I guess he's not too busy this morning down there in the Orlando area. Those of you that don't know Bob Kay, he is a racing driver extraordinaire, IT professional, and professional bass fisherman. So he can teach you how to drive, he can hook up your home network, and he can show you how to flip and jig for a largemouth. So Dan's sending the next group out, and Justin in the Heart Racing Acura, followed by Steve Loudon in that station wagon. It's got a dancing horse on the back of it. Got the Club Spec Mustang. Got the 8.6. Then we've got the Bridgestone Honda with Dylan at the helm, and then the Bridgestone Acura. Look, Andy's doing a fine job herding the cats this morning and getting them all to the false grid in time for their run groups. He usually likes to have the next run group on before the current run group starts, and then has one in the kitty ready to go. That way we have a really good flow and don't fall behind on the run groups. Justin overshot the staging line just a little bit. Mark backing him up. Steve down and away in the Ferrari. We're waiting on the Club Spec. I believe the Bridgestone Acura may have gone a little prematurely, but I think the timing crew will be able to sort that out.
Might have been nervous, huh? Just a bit.
And Justin completing his first of 3 laps. Like Steve Loudon may have pulled a little bit of gap out of Justin on that first lap. Club Spec Mustang. wishing good luck to all the drivers. Hopefully we'll see Bob and Derek back next year in some overbuilt vehicle that I'm sure that Derek has planned in his devious little mind. So Justin needs to put a little fire under that foot, or he's going to have a mirror full of Lusso on this last lap. And Steve really taking large bits out of that starting gap. The Mustang starting lap number 3. As the Bridgestone Civic crosses the finish line, the Bridgestone Acura, which started right behind her, is just coming through Dead Bear.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to just pack up and leave when we're done with the second, or do you want to hang up for these?
And Steve Loudon across in the Lusso to finish his 3 laps of the morning session. Club Spec Mustang.
So we're 12:30, 1 o'clock, I'll be at 2, I'll be at 4, and so this is 7. Let's see how they do that.
We're just awaiting the Bridgestone Acura to come across and take the checkered. There's Stephen Burke, our photographer, giving a little wave.
Black C7 earlier. Well, that perch is nice though. Over there, what's sliding off for? You caught it. Oh, he's all.
We got Jim Roberts taking off in his C8 Corvette. We'll see if that, yep, that's Fred and the, his Blackwing. Stephen Byington heading out in the PE Motorsports Camry. And SRS away first, FRS away, sorry. I don't know if that was Brian or Davis driving this morning. Jim Roberts away in his Jim Bob Racing C8. If you guys are going to hang out, I'm live streaming to YouTube for the event, and so if you can't get it.
Oh, you're doing this for?
Yeah, well, this is the official. All right, we've got all the cars out circulating now. The FRS coming around to complete lap number 1.
That's a good one.
Jim Bob buying his vet. Fred in the black wing, finishing up that lap. And here comes Stephen Byington in the PE Motorsports Camry. I believe this is Stephen's first time in the car this week, but they're here quite a bit testing their line of cars that they run in numerous events other than the one lap. They have a Lemons program, and I believe they also have a Champ Car program. Oscar Whiskey Cayman. Jim getting the 1 to go. Stephen pulling a good bit of gap out of Fred there. Utah FRS takes the checkered, finishing up his morning run group. Cayman not too far behind. Next across is going to be Jim Roberts, then Fred Edelman. Bright orange C8. First year he's campaigning that car here at the event. He's always had his C6 in the past. He's run for multiple years. Fred in the black wing. Stephen in the PE Camry. Old Crow Racing Supra, rounding out that run group. We are at 1 hour of the broadcast, so those of you who just joined us, welcome. This is the 2024 Tire Rack One Lap of America, presented by Grassroots Motorsports Magazine. All the media coverage this week brought to you by Hooked on Driving, Everyday Driver, and the Valente Group. And special thanks from Eric Call with HPDRE for providing the Verizon 5G MiFi. It has helped us tremendously at many of the tracks, being able to bring you a crystal clear and crisp coverage of this year's event. With that, the next group headed out, the Fields Cardinal Coupe, followed by the PE FRS. The two guys, one Camaro, Big Haynes and Scott Mattis. Team Hall Pass. Next to go out, Uncle Howard's Bourbon Bar, the official bourbon bar of the one lap. And last in this group is the HOD Legacy entry from Mike Arrigo in his M4 competition. So they are now circulating on their recon lap for the morning session. Howard's co-driver up here in the media center. Mark getting ready to time Uncle Howard on his 3 laps this morning as the 8-6 rolls away. Not only is Mark Howard's co-driver, but the guy that keeps Howard out of trouble, as the 2 guys of one Camaro shatter windows for miles and leave a couple of nice little smoky burnout tracks.
He didn't like those tires. Not their
Uncle Howard down and away. Mark starting the clock on Howard. Mike Arrigo from Hooked on Driving Northeast Legacy. He and Mona have been the caretakers of HOD Northeast for, I believe, nearly 10 years. And Mark Mattice and Cody Russo just taken over that region. I believe that must be Nick at the wheel of the Camaro, because he is thrashing it around like he does not want to take it back to Iowa with him. The car is so loud that all the elementary schools just went into an earthquake warning and are huddled below their desks. Taking Hall Pass going by. Uncle Uncle Howard completing lap number 1. We'll wait the arrival of Mike Arrigo, finishing up his first of 3. Comes the Fields Cardinal Coupe. Looks like Scott at the helm this morning. The car looks like it's has really picked up speed over the week. Would be very curious if they did not have the early issues that they had with the alternator and a couple of other little gremlins that put a damper in their week. How well that car would have done. I think it would have been up there, possibly top 20 or top 25 car or higher. I'm sure that there'll be some work done on that car, and hopefully we'll see Rob allow that car to return next year. And Scott has almost caught Mike Arrigo. This will be the beginning of Mike's 3rd lap and the end of Scott's 3rd lap. So Scott doing the fist pumps out of the window as he crosses. Just about walked down Mike in the M4 comp. Toyota P86 across the line. As we're waiting Nick out there, coming around the last corner, watching a crop duster do his thing this morning. There goes Nick in the Camaro. Next that'll be across the line will be the Team Hall Pass Audi. And then Uncle Howard will be after him. And Mike Arrigo will be the last to finish up this run group. And I think I heard Andy over the PA call for all remaining cars. So those that we've got 2 or 3 more run groups, and then the all remaining cars. As Howard and Mike cross the finish line. I think Dan's getting ready to cut loose the next group. Looks like the first car we've got is the Shakir Orange M2 from, what is it, their team? Oh, Matrix Cat 7 Racing, I believe is the team name. Matt and Brian in that car this year, and right behind him is one of the media team sponsors, the Valente Group GT500 with Brian Valente at the helm. And behind Brian will be the Cannonball and Chain entry, Scott Lee Donahue. Brian and his Shelby. Brian, a lap puppy this year. And then you got the running on empty C8. Then the entry from Matt and Pete Zakulis. I butchered every time. I'm sorry. It's Matt and Pete. Then Bob and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Ted Castle and Bob Archer, they've been doing the event for quite a while in that Chevy Corvette. The next run group starting to slot in as everybody's working their way around. I think that's going to be the left lane sleepers M2. Andy just doing an announcement over the PA for drivers out of the last run group to check their wheels for missing lug nuts, because guess what? They found one. The Matrix Cat M2 away. Brian Valente in the Valente Group GT500. I think after feeling like a puppy abandoned at the pound, my co-host is finally back after hanging out with Brozick Tate.
So, with age comes stories and lots of information. And as we are set to undertake some changes for next year, every now and then Brock likes to give me an education on certain things, and
I'm sure you just got one.
it comes at different times and anywhere, any place, and this is one of those times. So, had some good discussions about things, and yep, all good. Ugh. So kind of cool. After we do our afternoon coverage, we'll be skedaddling back to Tire Rack, where we're going to film something special that'll go up tonight. That'll explain what it is that we're looking for tomorrow, because we've had issues with tires that I'm sure Brian filled you in on some of the.
Well, no, a lot of that I did not, because I was going to let you do that
cool.
once you got back, because you were sort of
I got you. We had to sort it out.
The mediator and of sorts.
Okay. So, long story short, we have a couple of rules when it comes to tires. And one of them is they have to be round. And the other is that they have to be purchased from Tire Rack. But then, within that, we have to make sure that they have a minimum tread depth of 2/32 by the end of the event. And they cannot show any cording. And that's the big one. The 2/32, ideally when we get to the end of the event, they'll be down to that 2/32 mark, because you're supposed to use up all your tires. What you're not supposed to do is abuse the tires by running a super aggressive setup or driving too hard for the tires, because they need to last the entire event. That's a safety aspect. And as we saw yesterday with the Corvette, that hit that big pothole and expansion joint. I mean, if you have a corded tire, that air is going to look to get out from someplace when you hit that pothole. and it's going to go to the weakest spot of the tire, which is where the cording is showing, obviously, because it's already been compromised. So that can lead to a blowout and a really bad day on a transit. Not to mention what can happen on a track at very high speeds when you're loading it. And yes, everybody loves to say, oh, I've sent it plenty of times. It's not happened to me. The key word, though, that you have to add is yet. And that is not a gamble we want to take, nor are we comfortable doing. So, yesterday, there was a vehicle, Scott Kors, wonderful guy, and it sucks that he had to be the first sort of casualty of the brownfield rule, but such is fate. Pictures were posted, which clearly showed a corded tire, and the thought was that they were going to flip it around, so on and so forth, and we had to intervene and say, Scott, we love you. I'm very sorry this is happening to you, but you cannot run now. If you can find a competitor with the same tire size or wheel that is willing to lend you theirs, you can run, no problem. But we cannot let you run with that corded tire. And Scott and Ben went around everywhere trying to find it. There was a competitor who had crashed yesterday who had the same one, but he may have gone out, yada, yada, yada. Couldn't make it happen, so they elected to head back to Tire Rack to go get a new couple of tires. But because they had to do that, they not only did not partake in the afternoon session, but they put themselves into exhibition class. So when you look to the right, you're going to see some cars that are lining up that are in exhibition class now for various reasons, some mechanical, and our first tire issue. So we spoke about it last night, and the competitors were made aware again that we are going to be checking when we get back to South Bend. So maybe drivers not pushing as hard today if they were getting close to that cording.
Yes.
All we care about is getting back to Tire Rack. We're not going to check it after the dry skid pad because we want people to have fun and do the skid pad smoke out. But we are going to check it tomorrow morning. So changes may happen. But, and we talk about, it's something that we've always kind of had that rule, but we haven't always enforced because there hasn't really been the need for it.
Exactly.
But as these cars get faster, as the drivers get faster, as the tire technology gets faster, we as an event have been evolving. Similar to what's happened over the past couple of years. We now require Hans, right, and hybrid systems. The fire extinguishers that we use in car. So as an event, we're cognizant of the fact that we have to continually evolve as the tires and the technology become more advanced, as do the drivers and the skill set. So we have to respond in ways that help keep everybody safe, that is fair for everybody. So it's an unpleasant task to have to go to people who have just spent a week and doing this and have a sense of accomplishment. So it's really walking the balance between wanting people to be happy with what they just did and making sure that they're doing it in a safe manner. So that is a challenge that we continually face, and one that we're always open to new suggestions and ideas around how to accomplish that. So
I noticed before we started this morning that there were several competitors that are running Michelins that were picking the brain of a couple of the Michelin engineers and were voicing their concern with the extraordinary wear this week on those tires.
absolutely. I mean, I was, when I stepped away initially, I had to go speak with Tire Rack. And we were discussing this and sort of some of the hypothesis around it, because truly these tires for the past 9 years have sort of been the go-to outside of, I think, 2 years where Yokohama's won. It's been predominantly 4S's.
Yeah.
And
it was sort of like in the early 2010s when the weapon of choice
PS
was
the PSs.
Yep, PSS.
With the GTR.
Yep, that's exactly right.
That was the weapon of choice, vehicle and tire.
Yep.
And now the other tire companies have caught up.
Mm-hmm. Mike Roberts, listening in. It's always good to have him here. So Mike says, and yet people still scoff at my proposed $70 tire rule. I don't scoff at it, Mike. Any ideas got validity. I don't know if that has the validity for being able to run on track. I think you'd probably wind up running a whole bunch of Fiestas, which would make Brock happy.
You go GVs.
You go GVs. Well, what was the photo that we saw downstairs?
Oh yeah, the little DC2s. The Citroens.
Yep.
And
Citron.
Citroen.
You have to get the O in your voice. Why?
Some of the mini cars. I believe there was an Isetta.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there was an
picture as
Isetta.
well.
Yep.
Are running here at Putnam Park.
See the crop duster out there?
Yeah, I've been watching the
Okay,
crop duster.
there you
a
go.
little bit, yeah.
Brock crop dusted me on the way to the Tybee meeting, by the way, before. And when
Yes, he should have.
and when I pointed that out in front of JD down there, I think I saw the biggest smile and laugh I've seen on his face. He got great joy from reliving that moment for a minute there. So, but yes, go ahead. So there are lots of little cars down there running little tires in the photos. So
There were some great photos of cars running here at Putnam Park over the years. It was like a little mini museum.
so did you see the Blazer from One Lap?
Yes, I did.
Yep, saw that.
Another one that I saw was a picture from the early 80s of Al Holbert in his Lowenbrow Special 962 on Pit Road here. I
And
guess doing some testing.
was he running the good and tight lug nuts?
Yes, they were German torqued, good and tight.
Mm-hmm. Wee! Safe Haven Defense, an event sponsor, whistling on down the front straight. We're like screaming in that GT500.
It was.
And you guys captured that the Camaro shredding its tires out there.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And coming out of Dead Bear, going up the hill, he was giving it full beans. It's almost like that Nick and Scott want to walk back to Iowa instead of drive. He was really abusing that car during the morning session. Here comes Low Boost Entertainment Audi, Sans rear bumper.
Again.
I think someone found that on the highway.
Same people who found it the first time. So, do we call that a support vehicle at this point?
I don't know. As the wing grandpas scream by. Not sure if John or Wendell are at which one of them's at the helm this morning, but the other one will be at the helm this afternoon.
I think we're about to see it pass.
I think we are too.
Yes, we are.
The M2 was I thought he was gonna throw the block there for a second, but
No, there's plenty outside for the 500. Plenty of room.
we've thrown the block, and then we would have seen a chrome horn application. So while you were away, an announcement came over the chat that we may have to make a phone call this evening to verify, unless someone stole his phone. But the dean of the Bob Knieser School of Driving pretty much said, we're coming back. And maybe bringing Todd back as well. So
Yeah, in lots of racing series, there are silly season, and this is the last day of the event. And I'm sure Bob may be watching this, as he does many years, and gets on and says, "Oh, we'll be back." Not to say that the dean has, higher education in this country has taken a turn.
yes, it has.
And I don't know if it's what it once was, and we hear lots of promises these days.
Well, just do me a favor. Don't hound on him too much, because I'm at like level 3, and I don't want to be knocked back down to level 1.
Yeah, but those degrees are not worth what they used to be anymore, are they?
Yeah, but
times
You can still put it on your
change.
resume.
You can, but people work from home these days. So I don't know. I don't know. I am. How should I put this? I would love to see it happen, but I'll believe it when I see two weird masks show up with an assortment of gags and toys, and when we have that energy back in the paddock. So until that happens, it's just words. It's just wonderful, wonderful words.
So Bob, the gauntlet has been laid down. Put your money where your mouth is.
In fact, at this point, I'd venture to say Bob's probably started like a BKSOF,
Yes, he has.
a Bob Gneezer School of
Little
Fishing,
fishing.
right? So maybe that's why they haven't been here.
So if you come back, Bob, we'll make sure that Gingerman is on the schedule so you can fish the little pond out there
you go.
beside the snack bar.
there was a little spring back there when we were on our way into the right. He could be out there. Instead of Fernando Alonso sitting on a chair, we could have Bob Kay sitting there fishing.
That's right.
Or we just, what we could do? We could get a whole bucket full of goldfish, and he'd get him like one of those toy casting rods, and he could sit there just fishing in the paddock. That would be great. Swedish fish, goldfish. We can do a whole variety.
Yeah, we sure can.
And he can let us know what bait works best for each of them so he can still get his fix while actually being here with the people who like him, as opposed to fish that can't even talk. And if, Bob, you're at the point where the fish are talking to you, you need to do something else.
Bob Kneezer, fish whisperer.
Bloop, 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 bloop. No, he's got a little more timbre to his voice, and it's sort of like, here, fishy, fishy, fishy.
I'll share my Bud Light with you.
And my flip-flops. I think we're both going to have like ransomware on our computers by the time we get home or something.
I'm gonna have to crack my VPN.
You're going to send like a hit squad to our house with computers.
Somebody missed pit in. Dum dum dum.
Was it pit in, or was this the first of a?
No.
Oh no, this is the final.
He missed pit in.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. That's not good. So Brian, it's Friday. We've got one more day tomorrow where we do the dry skid pad. And then that is it for the 40th anniversary of this thing. And do you remember talking at High Plains on Monday and us feeling like it was Friday and saying, it's only Monday. We have a week of this. And we've blunked, and it is now Friday.
Wow.
It went quick afterwards. The beginning, I think, just because of the wind that day, made it seem very, very hard. But the rest of the week has gone pretty quick. I mean, think about it. We've been fortunate enough to be at High Plains, right? Or Hastings, right? Hastings first Sunday, right? No, Sunday. I know some things, right? So Sunday, Hastings, right? Monday at High Plains, Tuesday at Hedge Hollow, right? Wednesday at that other track. Where the hell were we Wednesday? It was NCM on Wednesday. Thursday, just yesterday, right? It feels like a week ago, but yesterday, just at Pitt, right? Pitt Race. And then today, here in Greencastle, I finally got the name right, in Indiana. And we are here at Putnam, and then we're going to be back at the tire rack.
The one thing that I like about ending the week here at Putnam, and this is the second time that we've done it,
Yes.
is the only 180-mile transit back to South Bend.
It's almost like Gingerman when we go there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Similar kind of distance in that feel.
Gingerman's only 60 miles back to South Bend, but that
It takes
60
long because you have to go through 120 miles of traffic to get there.
Yeah, the 60 miles feels like 260
Yeah.
in Gingerman.
Especially when we leave.
Yes.
So, but yeah, it's sort of surreal, and 19 for me now, having completed now 19.
13 for me.
Yeah, it is something special,
Yeah.
and something that I think we're going to continue doing for a long, long, long time. And with some of the changes, we might need some new broadcasters next year too. So, maybe we'll see some new faces next year, and as some of the changes go down. But it's going to be an exciting next 40 years for the One Lap of America. That's for sure.
Indeed.
And it was really neat. So last night, I was out until roughly 2:30 with a lot of the first timers too at Howard's Bar in the parking lot, and Randy was out there, and it was just a wonderful mix of old and young and very experienced and first timers. And Howard, it was great because we were reminiscing and talking about some of the transits that we used to have, like back in Colorado in 08, 09, things like that, and 07, and reliving some time when the local law enforcement was very eager to give us a performance award. All these two-lane back roads in, I think it's some state that just had a whole bunch of them, and I think it was Colorado because we were at a fairly high elevation going to Pueblo from Miller, I think it was, or the other way around, one of the two. And yeah, it's just us seeing about a few miles back these lights just rising and disappearing over the hills behind us, catching up to us, and Howard and I getting pulled over in two different cars, and tried to explain that one to the officer, who is very, very nice. And Howard was a very different individual at that time. It was neat because I could go and say, I got pulled over with the legendary Howard Lefevre, and he does have a nickname there, and you'd have to do the one lap to learn what it is. But yeah, he
Will
was.
always be Uncle Howard to me.
He was supporting. Howard, shall we say, used to support single mothers back in the day, and it was a very interesting time. But yeah, so we were talking with a lot of the, what's this? Just
Good luck, Brian. Santi.
Oh,
Santi
Santi.
checking in.
What's up, Santi? See you on the 25th coming up, right?
Asher checking in.
Asher, Santi, how you doing, gentlemen?
Asher's like, just don't follow the GPS we did where we drove potholes, horse roads from Putnam.
We did that to, what's it called? Oh, what's the other? Gingerman in the M6.
In the M6, yeah.
We wound up taking quite a few farm roads.
Speaking of M6, there went one that went blasting by.
Well, it's good to see him on track today, not exploring the landscaping and inspecting the tire walls. But back to what I was saying, we had some wonderful conversations, and some guys who are now 27 years old and running the event, competing. And Howard asked a really poignant question, I thought. He said, what is, in your mind and some of your friends, the biggest barrier to getting into motorsport? And he brought up a really interesting point. He says, well, you have to go and get all this equipment. You have to go to a comp school. You have to have, let's say, 3 years before you can do something competitive like this. Whereas this, you have to have training and the safety equipment that we mandate, and you can go out and be competitive. And not just that, but meet a variety of people, like Randy standing right there, who's been doing this since the Flintstones had their car running around on their feet, right? And and everybody. So what his point was that more young people and people who are trying to get into motorsport need to know about this event. They need to know that this is where you need to be to get a taste of competition, serious competition, get good advice, and just meet the best people. And I couldn't argue with him. And it reinforced some of the the thought about some of the changes that we're going to be making. Well, let's not even say changes. Let's say additions and enhancements. I think that's a better way to put it, because we're not changing this event. Right, enhance. This event is going to always remain the one lap as it is.
Yes.
But we do have a goal of giving more people this experience, to give them a taste of what it is so they want to do this, so we can continue the legacy here. And that's what we're striving for. And the other thing that he had said that I had to sort of, and then Howard seconded this, is he said, oh, well, you know, Brock's event. And I said, if you tell Brock this is his event, he'll tell you it's not. And I'll tell you the same thing. It's your event. It's Howard's event. It's everybody standing here's event. It's Brock's job. It's my job. It's every staff member's job here to keep it going so everybody can come back year after year. But this is not our event. This is the competitor's event. And selfishly for us, it's a way to hang out with the best people.
Yes.
There's no qualifier on that. The best people for a week every year, sharing incredible experiences, overcoming tons of different adversity, and having just a whole lot of fun while doing all of it.
Yeah.
So
We got Amos Winter going out, and looked like Becky's mom. I'm sorry, Scott's mom. Becky's future mother-in-law.
Ma Robertson,
And
Ned Nova.
And Ned Nova. The Griswolds. And the Griswolds. They've had issue after issue after issue this week.
God bless you.
Thank you. But they fought, they persevered, and they keep.
And let me ask you something.
keep working.
Do you think they've had just as good of a time, worse or better than the people who are enjoying being first?
Just as good of a time, but with a little less sleep.
Yeah, that's it's accurate, which makes it even more goofy at the end of the day. John Hall saying, everyone better be ready for this epic start. Interesting.
Is Amos gonna send it?
Is I don't know.
And if you want to watch some really entertaining videos, Amos has a series on his YouTube channel, the MIT Mechanic. So it's MIT and then like the back end of mechanic. We'll get the link for you. But
So
him rebuilding his engines, and he just has this nice, calm voice. I called him the Bob Ross of engine rebuilding. And he said he was going to steal that because he just loved it.
Okay, so which car are we paying attention to here?
We're paying attention to Amos here in his 911.
Uh-huh. Should we enhance for this? Because apparently something's going to happen. We might want to zoom in. Enhance. Whoop.
We over-enhance.
Well, now, it sounds like something you should speak with your doctor about.
And those of you that don't know, Amos is actually a professor at MIT in robotics.
I'm a bit underwhelmed.
That's a quarter cent.
What is this? Let's write them back and see. What is this?
Well, let's see what Amanda does.
Oh no, John Hall. He's talking about the BMW Malibu that's coming up.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So that is in the next. All remaining cars. Oh, look, there they are down there. That's what it is. So if you, after this, MX-5 gets out from Ma Robertson, you'll see, there you go in the right-hand corner, Scott, as well as the Malibu, the 2002 Malibu. It was really interesting. So they were kind enough to give me a ride back to the hotel. We were staying at the same one last night. I was across the street at Howard's Bar.
Couldn't crawl across the street?
Well, let's put it this way. Playing Frogger with many, many adult beverages in your system is probably not a good idea. So they were kind enough to give me a lift back with them. And they had tons of stuff piled inside. The trunk of the 2002 is larger than that of the Malibu.
You were kidding.
I'm dead serious.
Wow. Amanda thrashing the car around Dead Bear.
That's to be expected. I think about for her, 2 weeks ago, she was in an emergency room at Spa.
Yes.
She is now here at Putnam Park in Greencastle, Indiana, thrashing around Ned Nova like she's in a 70s chase scene. Pretty epic.
Yes, it is.
Ba-ding. Wah. Katie's super excited to see Ned Nova go by as she points to everything. I think we could have more action calling what Katie's doing than the car's on track right now.
Yeah, if you jingle keys around Katie, she's like, where's the dance pipe? Where are we going? What are we doing?
It was funny. The track manager comes up and asks us when we think we'll be done. I said, well, it's been about a half an hour. We've already got 5 groups through. So I think we're looking at more like brunch than we are lunch
Yes.
for a break. It's just going quickly. Much better than last year, or 2 years ago.
He's beginning his third lap.
Yeah. Should we do the 70s chase music for Amanda?
That's a different chase.
I hear a Brock downstairs.
I'm waiting on Ponch and John to pull out to go pull them over.
We could have just dressed Farva up as an old cop, but they're not here. They made a brief cameo at NCM.
Yeah.
And then went to go see some Grand Canyon-y type deal.
Dead to me.
Yep, it's all these promises from these previous competitors. Bob Kay, we've got, James and Jesus. Jesus, take the wheel. Yeah. Lots of broken hearts here.
Yeah. Broken hearts and broken promises.
It's true. Oh, we had a pass effectuated.
Yeah. Amos.
On Ma Robertson.
Yeah. Scott giving that old Porsche the beans.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's opened up 2 cans.
And look at this. Because of that, we're able to bring you every single run group today. Brian doing an outstanding job while I've been getting some other stuff done. And for those of you that have been asking about the auction, it will get updated today. I don't know. I think what happened yesterday is I was in the midst of updating everything, and we had a car decide to take an adventure, and some cars decide to not remember what red flags were, and I had to go administer some swift justice. And I think methinks that I probably closed out before saving everything, so all the updates were lost. So I'll have to go ahead and redo that today. But rest assured, I have been getting your bids. I will be updating them today, probably during lunch. I think we have enough time before we have to do something, because coming up today at 12:30, well, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because we may be done or in the midst of something.
This is true. We may have to break into our live coverage to do our.
Well, what we may have to do actually is, because we can only hang, because we have to do some stuff at Tire Rack, and we're about 3 hours or so from there. So, depending on how many run groups we get into, this may actually be done on the road, which is fine. Or maybe pushed, but we do have some special guests that we're going to be going live with later today. So we'll figure all this out on our end, and we'll bring you some cool content.
Yes, we will.
Or at least we think it's cool, so therefore it is.
I think we should have really had videoed our conference call with them a couple of weeks ago and then cut it and spliced it, because it was a very entertaining call with those two.
It was, but I think we could have probably only aired about a third of it.
Well, that's why I said cut and dry.
That's a lot of work for me. I appreciate you volunteering that. And Ma Robertson taking the checkered flag. Look at that, fist out the window, very happy. Well done. Super excited for her and happy for her.
So it's just coming up on 10:45 here on the East Coast. And the last group is going out.
Yep.
This is a first.
It's moving pretty good.
It is.
I think we will be, and that's great for us because then we can get back to tire rack. We can do what we need to do, and we can enjoy the festivities because that is not to be missed. Everybody will go back and relax a little bit, and then we will all be in the bar tonight, telling stories, making fun, and just generally reliving the entire week while trying to forget about all of it.
So be sure to subscribe to One Lap After Dark.
There you go.
If you're under 18, kids, get your parents' permission.
And credit card.
Yes. Sounds like Ben taking
Yeah.
off
Yep.
in the Bandit.
It's going to try and use all of those tires. Oh, yeah. There we go.
2002
The 2002. 2000 Boo?
Yeah, 2002 Malibu.
No, I
2002.
understand. It was just a terrible joke. I think it's the 2000, the 2002 Malibu.
Or the Malibu.
Sounds like an exotic bird.
Brock giving.
I couldn't hear him. I'm going to go find out what.
It sounded like he was in a New York City subway station giving the announcements.
It did. Brooklyn.
Not straw paper girl.
I think Ben's going to be waiting for a while. I get the sense that he may be at start finish for, because just coming around turn 6 is that Malibu?
Is the gas pedal on the opposite side of the Malibu and they're hitting the brake instead?
No. You know how Chevy's slogan is find your own adventure? It should be find some acceleration. I can't wait to hear the majestic squeal of those Uniroyals.
Look at Andy blocking.
Scott chatting with him, giving him some notes on how to go quickly. Oh, are they doing a heads up?
We're gonna have a heads up drag race.
This is we have a starter.
This is Street Outlaw.
Backing up. Is she getting a run? Is she going on the grass? I don't understand what is happening here.
I'm not quite sure.
They are
But
both
if she was
bike
going to get a
units.
run, they needed to let her come around at full speed.
Yeah.
And then about the time she hit the braking zone for turn 1, then release spin.
Did they have to do 2 laps before she does 1? I'm wondering if this is what's happening. That was majestic on one and very quick on the other. The 0 to 60 time of maybe by the Malibu. You should pan on this one. I think we might want to get up and actually do some stuff
this
here
might
because
be exciting.
this is fun. So we've got Scott or Ben, excuse me.
So I wonder if Ben gets around 3 laps before the Malibu does 1.
No, not 1. It'd have to be 2. I think it's a 2-to-1 ratio, I think. So let's see here. They're both from the standing start.
Just,
Coming through 3 now, or 4, excuse me. And here we go. As Ben is now coming around 6, the Malibu is just coming up to 5.
And Ben's already almost a dead bear.
Yep. So there's 6, 7 now. He's coming through 7, which is dead. Oh, sorry, he's not. No, he's at 8 right now. He's at 8 dead bear, and he's coming up to 9 and 10, or the last 2 corners here. Breaking, pitching it in, and I believe our Malibu is just now coming around to 8. And the braking zone for 8, as Ben now comes down the front straight, and the Malibu just floating through 8, and they can see Ben coming down into the braking zone for turn 1. The Malibu now coming into 9, just into the braking zone for 9. I wonder how they're going to float this in. Ben now coming around to turn 3, so I don't know if they're going to get 2 in before they finish 1. I'm not sure what's happening here, but it's fun to call. We've got the Malibu now coming out of 10 onto the front straight. He's got the green flag, crop duster going in the background. Ben coming up to turn 5 now into that little kink that is 6, running through pretty quickly. The Malibu still making its way to turn 1 now after having cross start finish. Ben going into 7 through the braking zone into the apex of 7, coming down the straight to 8.
Ben now coming into dead bear.
Yep. Dead bear being 8 as that Malibu is now going into turn 2. And I see them working their way to turn 3. Ben now making his way to turn 9 and 10. The Malibu just coming out of 2 into 3 now. On their way there as they go through 4. Crop dusters might be coming by to see what on earth is going on. Ben now coming up to finish lap 2. And there we go. Ben now into the braking zone for turn 1 as that Malibu is coming into turn 7 now. Into the braking zone, coming around. And I wonder if the goal is to try and catch and lap before all 3 laps are done. That seems to be what's going on here if I had to read the tea leaves. As the Malibu into turn 8 here as they come into Big Bear. Or Dead Bear, excuse me. We have Ben now coming all the way out to turn 5 through the kink there. That is 6, and on his way hustling to 7. No, I think the crop duster is still pulling on the Malibu as the Malibu comes into 9 on the way to 10 into the braking zone. Ben comes around, and I don't think that it's not going to happen. It's going to be a good and a valiant effort, but Ben just coming through Dead Bear now at 8, and the Malibu coming across the line for it was a 3rd lap, right? As Ben is coming around to finish his 3rd, he's coming into 9 right now, and then 10. You know, it would have been great if they did a Le Mans standing start, but I see somebody in the pit road with a helmet on and a suit. I'm not sure what's going on there. Are they going to come in and swap drivers? Ben takes the checkered flag. Where's Scotty? I wanted this. Do we see a Scotty anywhere? Because he had his driving suit on.
Oh, Scotty is in the timing tower.
Okay, so it doesn't have a helmet or anything on, but who is standing on pit road with the safety gear on? It just seems interesting.
Well, that may have been, that could have been Nikki in the Malibu now and going to hand off so they can.
Get both run groups in and go home? Ben, he's not hustling back, so I'm not sure what's going to go on with the Malibu. Something. But
The Malibu's not hustling either. And they've not taken the checkered flag.
The Malibu hasn't been hustling since they took the green flag. The Malibu is going just as quickly as it's been. Malibu coming around 10 onto the front straight to take the waving checkered. Okay.
So those of you that were questioning whether or not you should buy a Turbo S or a Malibu to compete in one lap,
If you want to compete, I'd say the Turbo S. If you want to probably not cord your tires, the Malibu. Scotty, if you're watching this, sorry, buddy.
Well,
But there are gloves going on, so something is going to happen. Are they going to swap cars? Because I see the Bandit coming down pit road.
Scott,
Scott's saying something.
Scott's like, I forgot my helmet. So I think we may end up having another heads up between the Malibu and the 911.
Oh, Scotty is getting his helmet.
Yes, he is.
They are doing so. This is a grudge match, is what this is. As Ben gets out, and we see the Hans there, the hybrid. Ben sliding that off, and Scott getting his balaclava on. It might be a while until the Malibu gets here, though.
Oh, no, it's
Oh, there we go. Okay, so not as long as we think. They probably kept it at... So what I'm getting is that there's
So
no
who-
difference
Who
between...
completes the driver change quicker?
Well, what's going to be interesting is how many brakes are going to be left on that Malibu by the end of this.
It's a rental.
No,
Like you said.
I'm not... I don't care about the fact that it's a rental. I'm more thinking about how are they going to get it slowed down. I don't think they're designed with repeated track laps in mind. Okay, Scotty getting hybrided up.
Andy paging Dave Marcus to his car.
No, that was Brock.
No, that was Andy.
Was
The
it?
announcement
Oh,
said
okay.
that Brocker would like to speak with him at
Cool.
his vehicle. And of course, Dave Marcus, one of the two drivers in the Cunning Stunts Supra. Scotty being quite animated as the Malibu blows the horn.
Ben giving some last minute advice to Scott.
No, he was just retuning the accordion. Folks, if you guys could have seen the text thread and the Discord chat this week, it was something else.
Let's just say none of us take ourselves too seriously here.
This is true. And if we did, all of us would have been canceled this week.
Oh yeah, no, we. Instead of Mind of Mencia, we'd be canceled like Carlos. Okay, well, we've got both away again. I see Andy getting ready to take his station there. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Solomon.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Solomon.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Solomon.
We're frozen.
Once again, Andy's getting ready to take his role as Big Chief from the Discovery Hit Show Street Outlaws.
Yeah, right. We may have a minute until the Malibu gets around because they're just coming through 3. Take a load off, Bubba.
The One Lap Elevator brought to you by Schindler's Lifts.
Oh, gosh. That's almost as bad as me killing the 5 birds and saying that normally people have to be careful of the avian flu, but birds have to be careful of the avian Jew at this point.
Yes,
Solomon achieved ace status yesterday, killing his 5th bird with the Toyota Tundra capstone.
You know, when you don't see him afterwards, it's a lot easier to deal with. But when we got the sheets to fill up, and you pointed out that there was that poor little robin.
We have a lane change. Like Scotty's going to take the
outside-
slower lane.
Yep. I don't know how much of a difference that's truly going to make. It's because I think by the time they get past the timing tower, Scotty can go wherever he would like.
This is true.
By the time the Malibu realizes that the driver has hit the throttle, the Porsche is going to be halfway down the front straight.
I wonder if they have figured out the launch control on the Malibu.
Okay, green flag is dropped. The Porsche away. Like I said, by the time the timing tower is cleared, they can go wherever they would choose. Porsche down into turn 1 now, coming up to the braking zone. Malibu just coming down about halfway through the front straight. Porsche now coming around turn 2. Bopping through 3. While the Malibu is just exiting turn 1. Porsche through 4. On the way to 5.
I think a more fair race would have been the Porsche driving in reverse.
I think what they should have done is swap drivers, meaning the 2002 in the Porsche and Scott and Ben.
Second call for the Cunning Stunts drivers. Now he's calling for both drivers to
Get back to their
meet
vehicles.
Brock at the Supra.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. We've got Scotty coming around, turn 10. It's empty back out onto the front straight.
I believe so. Solomon Escher
Yes.
was just asking the question, does Madison need to be 18 to do 1 lap? With
Yes.
Yes. That is the answer to the question. 18, Escher.
And an alcohol tolerance of at least 3 to 4 drinks an evening.
We will not be contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
No, but parents with him. And it's a religious thing. Because 1 lap is kind of its own religion at this point.
We are a cult.
Bum, bum, bum.
The lap time is the right time. The lap time is the right time.
Drink the maple syrup. Drink the maple syrup.
Howard is all in the week. We pray to Howard.
The lift gate hath opened to reveal its bounty. Let my spark plugs glow.
Take the tiny cup. As Scotty finishes his first lap. Or was that his second lap?
That's more than the Malibu lap.
Oh, Malibu's coming down to Dead Bear now.
So that's 1 for them?
I don't know. The silliness is catching up.
I've lost count. Namely because 1 you have to count quickly, the other you have to count slowly. It's like a very broken metronome.
It's like the Porsche is EDM music. The Malibu is the lute.
The slow waltz.
That must have been the end of the second lap because Mark Hopkins is now
Got the checkers.
grabbing
Yep.
the checker.
So we've got Sonic the Hedgehog versus the Sloth from Zootopia.
I would have said Bugs Bunny versus Cecil Turtle, but Cecil won at the end.
See? Well, the Sloth actually at the end of Zootopia drives pretty quickly. They pull him over for speeding. I don't know, the world's topsy-turvy.
Earth 2. And Scotty takes the checkers.
Well, we can start doing our wrap-up, because by the time the Malibu crosses the start-finish line, I think we'll be ready to hit off.
Yeah, this
So
is true.
that will conclude, very shortly conclude, the coverage for this morning here at Putnam Park in Greencastle in Indiana.
And we made 2 hours.
We made 2 hours just now. So thank you so much to everybody who helped make this possible. So for the 2024 40th anniversary Tire Rack One Lap of America, presented by Grassroots Motorsport Magazine, with coverage brought to you by Hooked on Driving, Everyday Driver, and the Valente Group. That's Brian. I'm Solomon. Eric Hall, thank you so much for this MiFi unit, which we're going to charge up in the short time that we have over lunch here, so we can go back to bringing everybody coverage. And yeah, it's going to be a great afternoon. We'll bring you some coverage then, and some very cool features from a few guests who we're going to have. And we're going to turn around just in time, so this way you can watch the end here. And that is the Malibu coming across the line. And that is it for us for right now. Catch us this afternoon. We got about an hour or so until we're going to pick up coverage. Like, subscribe, and make sure you set those alerts so this way you know when we're going to go live again. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Boop.